is KJ and Lyons on WEEI.
KJ and Lyons on WEEI right now. Thank you so much for being here. 617-779-7937. Text line 37937. We're about 2 minutes away from Would You Rather More Likely to Either Or. John, there's a fascinating showdown that's happening in sports television that it all makes a lot of sense, and it gets interesting, okay? First, I have to preface it by saying, of course, Woj left ESPN probably about a month ago, right?
How stressful and miserable do you think his job had to be that he said, you know what, I'll go deal with NIL in college athletics? That's what I want to do.
Well, what I'm about to tell you, I think shines possibly a little more light of everything that's going on. So you remember that part of the issue was that Woj, as an ESPN employee, was not being featured on a Pat McAfee show, which is not an ESPN show, but a partnership with ESPN. And Shams was a weekly guest talking NBA on the Pat McAfee show. Now, there are some rumblings that, look, Woj was kind of like, well, what's really going on here? My competitor is being used by one of the shows that the network runs. I want my life back. I'll go do NIL. It makes a little bit of sense if that's the way that it went, okay? So what happens after that? ESPN hires Shams to be as part of to take that job that Woj had. Well, guess what Pat McAfee sent out as a tweet today? Hey, I need an NBA experts for the program. Not every day, just someone to FaceTime periodically through the season. McAfee continues, I will pay because I pay everybody for their contributions to our show. Obviously, when licensing our show through ESPN, we thought it'd be easy to get NBA folks from the ESPN roster. That has not been the case. The ESPN NBA crew has been rather impossible to work with due to their daily scheduling during season. Afternoons are tough for the entire group.
Yeah, and here's the thing, and you and I know this, KJ. Like, when you have a radio show like that, even if it's simulcast on ESPN, you could pre-record a segment like in the morning with an NBA analyst if you really needed to. And if you look at ESPN's lineup, the amount of NBA people they have, I mean, I'd find it hard to believe.
More than NFL people.
Yeah, I find it hard to believe they couldn't find one regularly available. I mean, Perkins, Malika Andrews, Bobby Marks.
Afternoons are tough.
Like all them, like
Shams. You now
Mike
have to
Breen,
ask. You now have to ask ESPN permission for Shams because Shams is now an ESPN employee. He wasn't before. So here's the other part of it, and this is what I think is really juicy. Who's in the middle of a contract negotiation right now, and the starting number was $1 million more than what McAfee was getting?
I don't know.
Stephen A. Smith. And what kind of ship? And which ship does he run mostly of all the sports?
Oh, NBA.
NBA. So now you're seeing kind of like a wow, because for McAfee to take this to Twitter, keep in mind this guy's been going like 4 for 4 in all these baseball games up against he's gotten executives allegedly knocked out. I mean, he's getting what he's won. He's gotten the money he's gotten. They curse regularly on the program and haven't flinched. I think the only thing that they've kind of adjusted was after he got drunk in Dublin with all of his crew. Now they just send Pat to these games and the crew stays in Indianapolis. So like they're getting punished for having too much fun. Like you guys are not going on the road with him because it's not Pat McAfee and the Pips. This is who we're really paying for. So you can feel some of the stress marks. Like for McAfee to go, like it's the second day of the NBA. And he's already saying, I need people.
Yeah, and I know his style is to be like public and out there about it, but yeah, it is a little surprising that just with all the NBA people ESPN has, they can't figure out a way for one of them.
Afternoons are kind of tough.
Like with all of them, I mean, like, and think about it, this is a program that has Aaron Rodgers on every week, Bill Belichick on every week. Like they can't get one NBA person from ESPN on there. It like once he didn't even say all the time, like once or twice a month. They can't get that.
Well, as they're telling him after, that's kind of tough. And I don't profess to know what goes on in the walls, and I should probably be very careful how I go with this. I just think it's kind of funny now because it's like, hey, you came in with all this gump and all this moxie, and now you're asking for people. Because here's the other thing that I wonder. Is some just random guy now Tush Turpin would be a great guy. I'm not saying that at all. But is ESPN just going to say, hey, we're just going to let any old guy you have on your show talk NBA be on our network? Like this is kind of like that, I'm pulling him back in a little.
Yeah, you know what? They should have Justin Turpin on there. He deserves
Well,
it.
I mean, that's the other part is,
He'd be better than some of the people they do have on. But, point being, it's interesting that they were okay with a competitor coming on before, and now they don't want their own guy. It is
because they hired the competitor,
right? No, but it's an interesting kind of it's that whole relationship has been, I don't want to say tense per se, but it's been
strained.
A strained kind of interesting fit between the two parties.
I'm here for it
because remember ESPN did that Barstool Van show, and they did it for one episode and canceled it. Remember? Do you remember that? That was 5 or 6 years ago, something like that.
Yeah, vaguely. Yeah. But
McAfee's was a Barstool guy.
Yeah, it's all very interesting how it's all coming into the arena. 617-779-7937 text line 37937. 1 minute away from would you rather, more likely to, either or. Let's go to Shane. Shane, thanks for calling KJ and Lions. Good evening to you, sir.
Hey, what's up, boys? Great to hear from you. Glad we're finally talking some Celtics here. I was hoping, we'd talk a little Celtics earlier in the show, but, glad you guys got to it.
Wait. Hey, hang up on Shane real quick. Seriously, hang up on him real quick.
No, don't hang up on
him. No, because he's a good caller, but he does not do the rundown for the show. So, Shane, call back next hour. Just go ahead. Yeah, there you go.
I disagree with hanging up on Shane.
Sometimes you have to pull out the belt on things, I mean, look, I love you, Shane. But, once you went there, I just kind of have to push you off the cliff. We can talk again next hour if you want to. Ready to do this? Would you rather?
Yes.
Hit it! Yeah, you didn't think KJ had a little Eastern European in him, did you, huh? Would you rather?